What's going on YouTube? John and Tony out here getting eaten alive by bugs for your benefit. Today we are going to be flying the e-flite Night Timber X night flyer, of course, but without the lights turned on because it's still in the middle of the day. I have had this plane since January 1st, 2021. This thing is getting on 2 years old pretty soon. It's a year and a half. I have flown this thing at least 700 times, close to 850 by this point. It is probably one of the better models you can get from Horizon, but as I've gotten to become a better 3D pilot, I've started discovering its limitations. The Extra 300 is a better 3D plane in all aspects, but you can make this thing do bush-style flying, which you can't really do much with the Extra, especially with how weak the gear are. So overall, we'll actually call this a review too, because I never did a proper one for it, so we need to start doing that for this stuff. We're gonna fly this on a 3200 50C Smart Pack. You don't need the high-end SMC batteries for this. I don't think they even make capacities that actually match this anyway. I don't fly model stock, so we judge airplanes mostly by the quality of the flight rather than the quality of the servos most of the time, because I tend to replace them. This is no exception. All the servos have been replaced with AGFRC 9G servos, the B11 DLSs that'll be in the description. I also fly the stock motor, which is a BL10 900 kV motor attached to an Avian 60 amp with a Azor 13x5. It's rated for 13x4, but it has no problems flying in a 13x5. You can see I've flown the hell out of it. It's got nicks and scratches all over it, but it looks cool. And this thing is a ton of fun to fly. I actually got some inverted Harrier practice in with it too earlier, and that I started learning how to master that. And I'm gonna show you guys exactly how we can do off some of these moves with it too. So, one of the biggest complaints everybody has, it's a bottom loader. Bottom loading sucks. I do it like this all the time. I'm gonna do it for you on camera. I will probably struggle because I'm being recorded, but this is how I do it. Hold one hand by the battery and then pop it in place with 2 fingers and then slide it in. Jam it in there pretty good. I've done this hundreds of times at this point. One hand takes a little bit longer than a bottom loader, but it works. All right.
Throttle open.
So we have full span ailerons. I can turn them off.
Ailerons.
I never do, there's no point. Full 150% rates on everything. This thing is ridiculous. We're gonna take off with a little bit of a, we're gonna do some showmanship, take off one wheel. Let's do this. Wait, what was that all about? Oh, geez, I suck.
That's showmanship.
Yeah, for real, I really showed off, didn't I? I showed off so much that I flipped it up. Let me go fix this real quick. Prop looks like it's fine. Interesting. Yeah, I just gotta give it some rudder input. I just came off of flying the Sirius, and you don't really have too much torque issues to worry about on the ground.
Seconds.
There we go.
Flaps up.
I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Elevator flaps.
So we're going to use the elevator flaps to get it right into a Harrier.
30 seconds.
This plane has severe wing rock issues if you don't have the flaps popped upward. But without the wing rock issue, it's a very stable model in Harrier. I'm not going to go. I'm like a foot off the ground right now.
Swing normal.
All right, stop clowning around.
1 minute.
Quick pop top. In a knife edge. I like the bigger timbers better for a lot of this, but this isn't bad.
Elevator flaps.
Trying to get my bearings on inverted Harrier. There we go. I don't do this as much as I need to.
Wing normal.
Whee! Just about kissed those trees. I'm being goofy right now. That's okay. Let's stop being stupid and fly for real. All right, no inverted Harrier for the moment with the Harrier flaps. Go right into rolling Harrier. Watch out for those trees.
Elevator flaps.
Back into regular Harrier again. There we go. Once we get it settled, it stops being so wing rocky. I'm full back on the elevator right now with the mix that I use. I mean, if you didn't see the elevator flap mixing right now, you would think it was flying a normal Harrier, like a normal jet, but or model. But watch what it's like otherwise. See the wing rocking come in play? That's why we use elevator flaps. Trying to keep from being too crazy with this plane. I can make this thing go phenomenally awesome with it, but I'm trying not to make Tony work too hard on tracking. Yes, he says, It is a weird little plane. Now let's try the inverted Harrier with it. So flip around, give it a little bit of up pressure. I don't really feel as confident with this as I did with the extra. It feels weird because it's got stubby little wings, but it does work. You can see we're holding elevator pressure. When you're flying towards yourself in inverted Harrier, remember that right rudder goes to you and left rudder goes away from you. So generally speaking, right goes to right, left goes to left. As opposed to when it's going away, left rudder makes it go to the right and vice versa. I never used to be able to do this at all. So I'm actually legitimately shocked that I'm doing it as well as I am with the night timber. There we go. Remember, right rudder goes to the right. There we go. Little unstable, but it is short, stubby little wings. Again, we're on a 3200, so we should have a lot of power.
Battery 15.3 volts.
Put her into a quick flat spin. This thing flat spins with the best of them. Another rolling Harrier. Getting close to those trees.
Elevate battery 15.5 volts.
Regular Harrier, just kind of throttle into it gently. There we go. Now it's time to start hovering. Snap flaps.
Snap flaps.
Arrests the Harrier, makes it stop, go vertical. This thing is not my favorite hovering plane. The extra is actually up there. This one feels weird when it hovers, but it is possible to hover, as you can see. It is also possible to torque roll, although I'm kind of throwing out of it.
Battery 14.4 volts.
Snap roll into Harrier.
Elevator flaps.
Get her back into another hover.
Wing normal.
Got to be quick on those switches to get it to perform. You may find this plane flies weird if you don't do this stuff. That is kind of a point against it. For being advertised as a 3D capable plane, you shouldn't need to do these mixes, but that's what you do have to do to make it fly better a lot of the time.
Battery 14.8 volts.
Get her into a stable torque roll.
5 minutes.
There we go. The wind's kind of pushing it around. All right, let's do some other stuff we haven't done yet, which is a full knife edge, high-speed knife edge to crankshaft. We can go up nice and high because this is going to go really weird. Phenomenal.
Battery 15 volts.
I want to do that again because it's just so cool to do. We'll see if the plane suffers an in-flight failure from this. All right, do it one more time. Actually, no, we're going to go up into a hammerhead and then turn that into an inverted flat spin.
Battery 14.8 volts.
There we go. She doesn't like coming out of the inverted or staying in it sometimes either. So it's a weird airframe, like I said, and I've heard people who have passionately hated this plane.
6 minutes.
I like it. I just know what I'm getting into with it. I also know that I have to be kind of gentle with the stick inputs because otherwise it would have gone into those trees out there. But in an inverted Harrier, once you get it stabilized, it's actually not bad.
Battery 14.6 volts. Full flaps.
With full flaps, it's basically almost hands off. It's got a little bit of a trim issue it needs to work with. Also
up.
balloons a bit too when you add thrust as you're coming in from the descent. Okay, we're gonna turn it
Full flaps.
for the flaps out. Let's clear the runway. I can put it in the grass too. Actually, I think I will put it in the grass right in front of us.
Battery 15 volts.
Nope, not if you do it right. It won't flip over. Tony thinks it's gonna flip over. What do you guys think? Let's see what I can do. Damn it. You win this one. A little thick on the grass, but still, he's got a big smirk on his face. I want to wipe that off and do it again, but we'll come back with it in a little bit. What do you feel? What do you have to say for yourself, young man?
I didn't flip it over.
Should have gone for the pavement. That's what we have it for. All right, guys, cutting here. All right, guys, we're back with the Night Timber X. Again, demonstrating just how annoying this is, but really not that big of a deal. Grab the bottom there, hold it with the top of your thumbs, use your fingers to gently slide it in. It's easier if you see what I'm doing. Hold it like that, pop it in, slide it. I like to keep it in the front on this model. Tail weight is not this model's friend at all. So, like, you can add weight to it. There's a little pocket in the back, but you can see that I removed the weight out of the pocket. So you can, right in there. I also had the steel spar in the back. Took that out too. Flew like crap, especially on water. Like, it was tail heavy to the point where it was almost uncontrollable. It made some of the maneuvers look cool, but it was just terrible. All right, we're gonna try for that.
Throttle open.
One wheel,
Flaps,
takeoff
flaps
again,
up.
without flaps. Not perfect, I'm flying in the wind, and partially I suck too, so.
$20 seconds.
Quick rolling Harrier circle.
Snap flaps. Wing normal.
As a 3D model, you can do a lot of
30
stuff with this thing
seconds.
that you can't do with other models. Like, you're not gonna get the commander to be this agile or sound as cool without that Zor prop.
Snap flap. Wing normal. Elevator flaps.
Come on, baby, get away from those trees. I've flown this plane so much that I don't mind pushing it to the limit now. Take my hand off real quick. Here we go. Get it into a hover.
Wing 1 minute.
I don't mind pushing it a little bit more, being a little crazier with it. I've gotten my fill of flying it, so I really wanted to show you guys what I think of it. There we go. Just about lost it.
Snap flaps. Elevator flaps.
Back into Harrier. Again, you really need the Harrier flaps, and if I was to give this thing a score right now, I'd say it's a solid 8 out of 10, but it would be a 9 or a 10 out of 10 if I didn't have to do the servo replacement, although we don't really hold that against it. And if I didn't have to, use these mixes to get it to fly stable. It definitely wing rocks more than it should without this. Like, you're not gonna find anybody else flying a Harrier like this at this angle without it looking like this. See how it starts getting real wing rocky and out of control? It's just the little stubby wings don't really lend themselves well to it. But once you get it stabilized, it's actually not that bad. If I can get it back in an inverted
2
Harrier,
minutes.
so I can get it right in front of us here. Again, when you're inverted, pointing at yourself, right rudder goes right to you. See, I'm keeping some throttle to keep it in this attitude. If I give too much, it'll flip over itself. Getting a little too close to those trees. Getting a little too close to Tony. Okay, we're gonna get out of that. It's a little unstable, that's all right. It does really good rolling Harriers though.
Elevator flaps.
Got a nice wind gust coming. Let's go ahead and use that to our advantage to slow this Harrier down to a crawl.
3 minutes.
There we go. Put it into a hover.
Snap wing normal.
You can see the plane is pointing vertical, but it's moving sideways. Again, that's the wind. Quick torque roll. This model torque rolls insanely on floats. Something about the floats messes with the center of pressure and makes the thing just want to rotate even faster. It kind of defies anything I know about physics. But on wheels, it actually has a stable torque roll that's not too hard to work with.
Wing normal.
So yeah, you just got to be careful with that wing rock when you're flying it. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid model. If you give it too much elevator without that Harrier flap mixing, it's just going to get unstable and start wing rocking like crazy and try to drop out of the sky.
4 minutes.
I used to be so bad at this. It's funny that I can even do it at all. That's what comes with practice, guys. You just keep practicing, you get better. I used to always lock it still because I was afraid of flying it like this. All right, let's take her up. Do the crazy crankshaft stuff. Knife edge to crankshaft. Let's see if it ejects the battery out. I'm not really afraid of this plane. Like if it hits me, I wouldn't want to be hit by it, but it doesn't have so much mass and inertia that I think it would cause too many problems. You just don't want to get hit by that prop.
Elevator flaps.
It's a little unstable when you
5
don't
minutes.
quite nail every movement. We're gonna come right down the taxiway, mister. So watch yourself. Try to keep it in a straight line as much as I can.
Wing normal.
This is on a 3040C Helios pack, by the way. I forgot to mention that. We're getting super unstable here. I should shut up and just fly. There we go. Helios pack. Get them at hanger18hobbies.com. They're not bad.
Battery 14.2 volts.
All right, let's throttle out of this. She's getting weird. All right, getting a little lower.
Minutes. Elevator flat. Battery 14.6 volts.
Still flipped it, but not as bad as the first time.
Normal.
So again, this is really, it's a good solid model. It's got a lot of quirks. If you're prepared to work around them, then I'd say, you know, have at it, have fun. But just be aware that this thing can bite. It does not like, it does accelerated stalls really poorly. As you pull, it just spirals. And everybody thinks every single time, oh no, a servo failed. No, it's not a servo failure. When you pull as hard as you can and the thing starts rolling, you dropped lift on a wing. You stalled it asymmetrically. There's no such thing in radio control as a so-called tip stall. That is an asymmetric stall caused by too much G loading on the airframe. You can only go to some certain amount of point. I don't know what the scientific critical angle of attack on this wing is, but I guarantee you once you get to about 45 degrees, it starts doing this. If you pull that elevator too hard, that happens. Just don't do that too much and you'll be okay. Unless you're willing to use the elevator flaps here, which can kind of cancel that out, but it'll still try to stall as you pull this aggressively. So that's just something to be aware of.
Battery 14.6 volts.
Still plenty of power. We can go back up and I'll show you, give you guys an idea.
Elevate snap flap. Wing normal.
Quick hover. All right, so I'll show you guys the stall again. Let's go straight and level, pulling, and that's all I'm doing. See how it rolls? That's an accelerated stall. You're getting a stall under airspeed, like that would be beyond what your normal stall speed would be. Which in this model, I'd say is about 18 to 15 miles an hour with full flaps. So if we use the Harrier flaps,
elevator flaps.
watch what happens. It'll still stall, but not as violently. A little slower, and it actually tries to keep the airflow intact over the wing. So you saw it kind of keep going. We'll do it again. Regular accelerated stall.
7 minutes.
See how it kind of pointed at us? The wing lost lift. Now let's show you what it looks like with snap flaps. And when we dump flaps out, it's going to stall almost instantly.
Battery 14 volts.
Oh, maybe not. Wow, that was a super tight. Well, that shows me I don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on, let's try that again.
Snap flaps.
Snap flaps, hold it. Okay, it did try to stall toward the end, so it actually did do a crazy tight loop. So let's see what happens when we get it a little faster in the airspeed, full throttle.
Snap flaps.
Yeah, there's the stall right there, so it started banking to the left. So for some reason, the snap flaps actually helped, almost like increasing the wing camber wasn't hurting it at all.
Battery 14.4 volts.
We haven't had a proper landing on this thing yet, so let's go ahead and bring it down.
Flaps.
There we go.
Engine reverse.
You gotta be
Engine
kidding me.
forward.
Did I break that prop? I think I did. Proper landing, huh? So much for that. That's why you don't use reverse thrust until you've established a proper slope. Oh yeah, I tore that thing up. Until you've established like a proper line on the ground. And especially with tail draggers, it can be a problem because then you end up destroying the wood prop. I think I have a spare one, but I'll just put a 13x4 plastic on it instead. Wood prop is overkill, but at least we got all the flights out of it that we wanted to get. Hey guys, appreciate you watching. John and Tony, we just actually hit over 3,000 subscribers. I don't know when this thing is gonna go up, sometime this week, but by this point, hopefully it'll be 3,100 or more. We really love that all you guys watch. We really appreciate all the time and effort you spend commenting. I try to get back to all of you guys whenever I can. I hate being one of those people that's like, oh yeah, you leave a comment and then you never get a response back. That's just such a, like, you have people that enjoy talking with you. Spend time and give them the same respect that they're giving you. That's the least you owe them, I think. I'll get this thing right back up in the air with a new prop, so no real big deal. But it's not a good thing to do with these wood props because they're a little pricey and they're even getting pricier now. But again, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys again next time.